Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
there are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. It was a Monday holiday. Can you believe it? Well, it was raining wet, but hopefully it's still very wonderful as we invite you to be a part of today's discussion. We are honored to have the company initially of MLA, Mr. Ezra Miller. He'll join us in a bit. We'll go until 1:30 with him. And at 1:30, our friends from the Health Services Authority, Dr. Anna Matthews and company will join us to talk about World Sickle Cell Day. Remember now, we want you to be a part of the discussion. So give us a call at 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile. Saving lives today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us, and we invite you to be a part of our continuing discussion. Not just information exchange, but an opportunity to provide an excellent platform to reach near and far, and particularly across all three of our shores, to ensure our people are able to participate. Very, very honored once again to welcome to our studio a member of our Legislative Assembly, Mr. Ezra Miller. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome. Thank you for being a part of today's conversation.
Good afternoon, sir. Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Well, I must commend you. You're always amenable, always available, and always instructive. I think as we understand, as you share the idea of participatory democracy, as our people start to realize the importance of not just being informed about what is transpiring in our legislative assembly, but being engaged and involved. And you help us to, at the very least, make sure civics is a part of that public dialogue. So hope you had a great weekend.
Yes, I did. Can't complain too much. Got out in the boat a little bit, Took the children out in the boat on Sunday, and it was good. Got some rain, so I had to come back early. But, I told them if it starts to rain, get up overboard so you don't get wet.
I usually works, Usually. I think for those of us who imagine, being out in a boat these days, it's something that probably we've taken for granted for too long, and now that we appreciate everything. Well, I hope that this unfolding scenario will provide us as a people an opportunity to start to value what's much. And I won't engage in conjecture. I certainly won't deliberately, hopefully not disrespectfully, invite you to share any particular comments, but sitting in the chair that I am, especially being what to some have been even a very long weekend, given the circumstances. A chance for much conversation and for people to share how their lives are changing, not just changed, but are changing, and concerns about their freedoms, their movements, what the country's financial debt would look like, the social fabric, the unfolding sort of geopolitical landscape as well. So we invite you to share with us as much as you are able to, because you always give us much to think about.
Yeah, well, nothing identifies the value of anything was when you can't have it. You know, we live in this paradise we call the Cayman Islands. We have all of these wonderful waters around us, and you know, I remember telling people that when I was in college in Jamaica, we would drive 150 miles in the grill to spend a half hour in the sea. And here, you know, it's less than a quarter mile from a door, and oftentimes we don't go. You know, you just take it for granted. Oh, well, I can go. I don't need to go today because I can go tomorrow. Tomorrow come, you get distracted by some other material thing in life, and we forget the things that are of value. And hopefully, as you said, that this COVID-19, you know, they always say that behind every cloud is a silver lining. So I do believe that our experiences from the lockdown and COVID-19 and those things that we were deprived of has increased those things in value. Us getting together as a family, getting together with friends, being sociable, being nice to people, so we can get back to the Cayman that you and I grew up in. You know, where you knew who your neighbors were, you knew your neighbors' family. You know, these days, you know, you live in an apartment and you don't know who live on the left, you don't live on the right, you don't know who live in front, you don't live behind. You know, and we make no attempt to find out. You know, and we need to get back to value the things that we were raised up to value. You know, social interaction, family is, you know, money and material things, nice car, nice boat, nice house, all have value. But without friends and family to share it with, it's meaningless, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, sir. And I'll ask you to guide me. I know I have mentioned this a number of times for two reasons. I've lost count, honestly, of the many people and how often it's sort of been broached with me. And it has to do, as you shared, with the idea of quality of life, of appreciating, you know, the really important things, the intergenerational sort of interactions. And for some initially, sort of a segue, some would have recognized that in the early days we talked about staying away from our elderly, which probably put them at great risk as well, because then we didn't get that physical social interaction and contact to make sure they're safe, taking their medicines, have been properly cared for in our attempt to make sure that we don't, you know, infect them inadvertently. But beyond that intergenerational sort of contact that we're losing now, what are we also losing? The opportunity to hear the stories and to learn from our past experiences, to understand our history and heritage, to get, you know, grounded in who we are. But if I may just step aside from that, Friday and Monday, like I said, you know, this was a long weekend, and for some it felt even longer. I've had conversations with people who I discovered, one, they're out physically moving around on their bikes, they're walking with their families to places that they never did because they're trying to venture far afield to explore and to appreciate the beauty. But what has been startling even more than ever is the amount of dogs. It may be insignificant to some people, but dogs that either A, are just roaming freely, or B, have their handlers, their owners not far away, but they're off the leash sufficient far enough to startle people, to give them a bit of concern. And you know, a very good friend shared on Friday, and I trust that, you know, I'm not betraying her confidence, but her interaction as she's walking and exercising, getting physically active, getting her mental sort of focus, to be, you know, frightened by a pack of dogs when the owners are, you know, a few hundred yards away, is unsettling.
Yeah.
And
And actually, there are laws against that. If you have your dogs out in the public, that I think you're required to keep it on a leash.
well,
But again,
the law
you
is
know,
there.
because we haven't been doing these things that we're doing now, walking around, looking at what's going on, and we haven't seen the way that part of society and those kind of societal norms are changing daily and deteriorating. The quality of life is actually deteriorating.
Yeah.
Because you know, one of the things that I used to enjoy doing when I before I went politics, when I had money, was, you know, the plane and go up and fly around Cayman, because you could see what was happening, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that we did on Sunday was I took the family in, we were talking about behind Booby Key and up behind Round Key and up in Duck Pond, introducing them to all these areas, And then we decided to go into the canals, into Rattler canals, and it's amazing the amount of development that is taking place in these areas, and the quality of the homes that exist in these places, and the quality of boats that people own,
Yes, sir. And
certainly
in
an
love
affluent
them.
society in many respects. But there was also evidence of areas where people were struggling, and the yards were kept.
Yeah. Is that something then that this whole scenario, and with the greatest respect to all that may be transpiring around the world, because we've seen the concerns of people not accessing healthcare out of fear, not accessing healthcare out of the fact that they don't have coverage. But if we were just to focus on the three islands, a population that was probably bucking 100,000, certainly an infrastructure that is expected to support on an annual basis millions of people, our roads and sewage and the like. Are we now pushing the country to a path where we're displacing our people? They're not able to afford, not just the homes and the cars and affluence that is around them, but they just can't afford the necessities of life, and we're not doing enough to benefit, from the development for the people that are here.
Well, I would agree with you, and that there are a minority number of Caymanians and people who we welcome to our shores who are doing exceptionally well in this country economically. The majority of Caymanians are being left behind. Being left behind economically, they're being left behind socially, and they're being left behind in all aspects of our society. I mean, the way we treat our elderly, and then we have all this stuff about, we have our old people's committee, and we have this old people's law and all this kind of stuff, right? But there's no resources put to it. The way we treat our elderly in this country is a national disgrace. But there's no debate about the conditions that the elderly are living in, other than for political aggrandizement. That is why we went from 550 to 650 to 750 to 850 to 950 next year for election, because the politicians are only catering to that for their own good, for their own political purposes. There's no comprehensive program. I mean, one of the things that we hear a lot about is, well, the NAU staff is overworked. Absolutely, they're overworked. Why are they overworked? If we have a Caymanian who is 65 years old, who is certified as indigent and gets poor relief, that's for life. That's not for 3 months. But the system that we have in place tells these people who are doing these civil servants, who are doing these assessments of these people, that you can only do it for 3 months at a time. So we're doing it over and over and over. We give them health care coverage through Seneco when they don't have another one, 3 months at a time. Okay? And that is why they're overworked, because we have to accept the fact that we younger folks like you and I have a moral, ethical, and a social responsibility to look after our elderly, right?
Yes, sir.
And we need to have a comprehensive program, right, that meets the needs of our elderly in a very respectful way. Why does the Minister of Social Services or Community Affairs have to sign off on somebody being medically indigent?
Is that how it is, sir?
That's how it is. I have been trying to get that law changed for the last 10 years.
Okay.
Right? We've exposed it in Public Accounts Committee time and time again that should be absolutely unnecessary, right? What we should have in place is a program that deals not just with the economic needs of our elderly, and that is important. That is absolutely important. That has to be given a priority, but their social needs should not be, and you mentioned earlier about not being able to visit our elderly family members, put our family members at a disadvantage, because at that age, that's what they need that for their own psyche.
Yep.
that kind of social environment, right? And when we have people who, because of circumstances, who worked all their life, who built the country that you and I enjoy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they get on hard times, and the pension that they're getting is not sufficient to look after them. We need to look after them, and we need to decide what is the living wage, and the poor relief must match that living wage. That living wage is they should be able to pay their health insurance, they should be able to pay their utilities, they should be able to feed themselves, they should be able to house themselves, and they should be able to clothe themselves, right? And have a little bit for entertainment, right?
You're right,
So
right.
we have the economic department of government, which should be able to go out there and determine what that amount is. And that's where we should start. If that is determined to say $1,500 a month, we start at $1,500. I come in, I make an application. I'm getting $300 in pension. I have a little apartment or a one-bedroom that I rent for $400. So I have $700 in income. I therefore need the $800 to take me to that. But what does the politicians, how is the whole system structured now? Not only for the politicians, but for the civil servants, you see, because they need to be important too. And you got to come back to me and ask for this, you know? And you need to understand that the only person who can give you this is me, right? So you got to keep coming back. So what do? We give them $850 a month. Then they got to come and bare their soul and apply again to get Seneco insurance, right? Then oftentimes $800 a month is not enough to take care of the utilities. So they got to come back and get the utilities paid, right? If they pay all those first three items, they don't have nothing left to buy food with, so they have to come get vouchers to go to supermarket. So the system is insisting that the elderly be punished to know that you are dependent on me, and you better be nice to me, and you better vote for me, because otherwise you might not get this, right? When the system should be in place, you come in, you tick the boxes, and here's your thing, and it's for life.
Yeah. Maybe after this first break, sir, maybe we could talk more about that, because I think many people don't appreciate how the governance model works in terms of the structures and the protocols and processes within the civil service and the political sort of arm. You just shared something that maybe many of us knew, some was probably learning that. It's the minister. We know that in education, sometimes we were told way back when, don't know if it's still the same, that the exam results, for instance, the external examination results that the students would sit used to come back to the ministry as well, instead of going into the schools, as some thought. Little things that are probably not intended under the old colonial system to be anything other than what they were. Maybe in a modern democracy, they needed to be looked at. Maybe we could talk about that. Could we also ask you about the whole issue of health coverage? You just mentioned it, 3 months at a time through Seneco. The amount of people now, Caymanians, with great respect, Caymanians specifically, who have lost their health coverage, who are finding themselves in challenging times because of the whole scenario and otherwise, but other health issues, don't have coverage. How do they go about it?
It's amazing how the government has complicated this emergency relief for COVID-19, Right?
Well, maybe you can help us to understand it.
Well, I wish I could understand it myself. But because, before you say you want to break now, okay, when you come back.
You don't lose your train of thought, sir.
Okay. All right, but you see what I'm saying is, we decided we're going to give emergency relief, right? Well, we could design the program so it's easy to get, it's easy to access it, right? And if somebody lies on it, that's a crime. That's a crime. That's an offense, punishable by law.
Wow. All right. Take us through it when we come back, sir. Help us to understand. For those who are listening, it's nothing better than being educated and informed, and especially when you give an opportunity to engage and at the end of the day to use that to be empowered. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Obey the laws and wear the gauze. Protect your jaws from septic paws. Stay clean, K-Man. Reflection sells hand sanitizer from $2.99. 10 surgical masks are only $9.99. And the best KN95 masks from only $3.30. Volume discounts available at all 5 Liquor for Less locations. Shedden Road, North Church Street, Savannah, Northside, and the McClendon Drive Airport location. Don't miss the Liquor for Less incredible lockdown price markdowns. Hundreds of fine from $2.99. Cases of ice cold below wholesale prices. Save $9 off liters of. Enjoy our manager specials exclusively at Liquor for Less. Prices so low, we can't say them on the radio. Liquor for Less enforces the wearing of masks, social distancing, and preventative measures to help stop the spread of COVID-19, such as consistent hand washing and only leaving home for essential purposes.
The Bathroom Palace, upstairs Ed Plaza, North Sound Way, is honoring all fathers with 30% off all Italian pure wood cabinets. Make your bathroom your kingdom. Sit on your throne in style and enjoy the luxury. Sale starts on Wednesday, June 17th to Saturday, June 20th. Opening hours, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Call the Bathroom Palace, 916-8211 or 916-3553. Happy Father's Day to all dads from the Bathroom Palace.
We are here for you. Whether you are in extreme financial need, have lost your job, have been directly or indirectly affected by the pandemic, we are here. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan is here to assist through the Cayman Islands Government Emergency Withdrawal Program. To withdraw, visit chamberpension.ky and complete the online application form by filling in your personal details, the amount you wish to withdraw, and upload a notarized government ID such as your passport or driver's license. For information as it happens, visit chamberpension.ky or follow our social media pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We thank you for your patience as we address the high volume of email and phone queries. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. You can count on us.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Again, a special thanks to Paul Carl for doing a fantastic job making sure the sounds, everything is just perfect. Connecting us up to our guest, and we're especially honored to be able to now have the excellent company of MLA, Mr. Ezra Miller. Sir, thank you very much again for sharing with us. I know that there's even more and more on your table as a member of the Legislative Assembly as you attend not only to your constituents, but to the issues of our country as well. Just before the break, we were talking about it, and it's complicated and confusing the way we go about things. As you were sharing, maybe you can help us to understand some of the dynamics at play.
If we are going to provide relief, assistance, help, we have to first of all make the assumption that that is justified, right? Mm-hmm. So we accept that there's a need to do this. Then let's do it in the simplest possible way, in the easiest accessible way, in order to get it into the hands of the people that need it. So if you're going to give emergency relief to certain people, then that should be a separate exercise than when you're certifying somebody to be on poor relief for the rest of their life, right? For instance, there shouldn't be no need to check bank accounts, and you ask certain questions and people give you an answer. If you suspect, or you do an audit, you do sampling, you're a qualified accountant, you know what I'm talking about. The Auditor General comes in and does some sampling and says, okay, we're going to check on this guy, and if you find out that he misinformed the people just to get the money, then there are legal action that can be taken. But you don't slow down and hold up all of the good, honest Caymanians when you're trying to deal with that one outlier.
Mm.
And all of the things that I'm hearing by people who trying to access NEU, who try to access the small business relief, is that the process is very complicated. The criteria for the small business loans, although I haven't seen it published, but what I hear about it's very detailed, it's very complicated, and it's very onerous. And I have talked to some people who've actually given up because it is so complicated, you know?
I've heard
you haven't achieved your objective, you know?
I've heard similar concerns expressed by people, even over the weekend, a family where, you know, one member of the I guess one spouse is Caymanian, the other isn't as yet, and they would qualify for some of this relief. And now at some point, because of the sort of the phone connection, I wasn't sure if they were referring to each other or they were referring to mutual friends. And then I asked, and then they clarified, but the connection was bad, so I felt like I was being disrespectful, or they thought I might have been paying close enough attention. But what transpired is that the form that the Caymanian was being asked to complete, was 3 pages, I think, long, and the one for the non-Caymanian was a page. And then information on, the first form was, as you said, much more detailed, asking a lot more questions. And the second form was, what's your name? What are you applying for? And, how much do you want? Sort of thing,
Yeah.
Which...
This is far too common in government, is we complicate things for Caymanians, and everybody seems to get a blight, And you hear rumors that this person is getting relief from NEU on a work permit, and they're sending them on, and they go straight to Western Union or somewhere else and send it home, right? So that should be easy to track, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that shouldn't take no Philadelphia lawyer work that out. But what we're trying to do, we're trying to prevent that by making all the Caymanians suffer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't make any sense, People need the relief. They need to get the relief, and we need to streamline and we need to stop duplicating all of this stuff that we're doing to our people,
Mr. Miller, we do have a caller join us, and if I didn't, I certainly want to again say to our callers, welcome to share our perspective. Mr. Miller always, when he sits in the studio, says, he can share much, but it's more important to listen as to what people want to share. So 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Sir, let's just take this first caller. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, and good afternoon to your guest.
Good afternoon, sir.
First, I want to agree with Mr. Miller that people who receive money from government and they go in Western Union to send money here and there, I think it's very ridiculous, and it's disgrace and shame that there is a lot of Caymanians who suffer, and we see, in the community there is people who Caymanians suffering because of this crisis. I think it is very shame that those expats taking the money and go in Western Union.
Just saying that was the case, right?
I go the other day to Western Union. I find too much people are there, standing in the line, and I think it's very shameful that somebody is receiving help to help himself, then he take the money and go and give it away out of the country. At least he should spend the money in the country so the economy could. So I agree with Mr. Miller. It's very shameful what happened in Cayman, and the Caymanians are suffering. It's very shameful. And the second thing I want to speak about, Dwayne, is this lady she gone to medical in Jamaica. The lady, they brought about her some report, a video report in Jamaican TV, and I am not sure what happened with her these days, but I think the Cayman Island government have a duty to look after their citizen and bring back this lady home safe. If she don't need medical attention in Jamaica, she can't be just staying there and receiving help from other people. And I think the Cayman Island Consulate should look after this lady financially and in medical wise and try to find a way to bring her back home.
Yes, sir.
That's all what I want to speak about today.
All right, thank you very much. And unless you wish to respond, Mr. Miller, we have another caller joined.
I don't have any. I'm not familiar with the case, so I can't comment on specific case.
I only have some information as well, but again, I guess the gist is taking care of our own, no matter where they are, would be.
Now that I agree with.
Yes, sir.
That's been my mantra all along.
Yes, sir. I know. All right. Well, let's take this other caller. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, this is caller. This is for Mr. Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Miller, I've been paying health insurance from the time I know myself that I had to pay insurance. And I did have breast cancer in '85, and after that, nobody wanted to insure me till after Seneca came in. After Seneca came in, I was paying insurance ever since. And it's only 2 years ago that someone told me that I needed to try to get assistance to my insurance because I have the ship insurance that's only deductible for $400 a year, and I was paying a lot of money out every month for different stuff because after the $400 is up, I got to pay the rest.
Yeah.
And I did get assistance to my insurance, and I went back to get it again, and I didn't, and I threw it yet. So I don't have no insurance right now because I just went to do my blood work, and that was $488, and I only got $400 for insurance. So I had paid the $98 already, but I need to go to do my mammogram and also go to see the doctor to get my results. And if I don't get insurance, I mean, the assistant to my insurance, I have to pay all that out of my pocket. And I'm 73 years old, nearly 74 years old, and I'm a single woman, So I don't get it.
This is what I don't understand. Your circumstances are not likely to change, right? I mean, you were certified once. Why do you need to get recertified again?
Yeah, and I don't understand why they put me through the drill, and I told them the truth about everything.
Uh-huh.
I didn't tell no lies about nothing that I had. I told them, and also they made a big mistake with my application. They had me down. I had 5 children. I only got 3 children, and I had to go back in there. And since all this on now, I went there. I stood down for 4 hours, waiting to try to let them know that I need to know what's going on. And the young lady was there. She helped me, and she told me, she said, it was all a mistake with the application. You didn't even sign the application, so it couldn't be in progress. And she said, no, we can be processed now. But that been over a month ago. And I did this assessment in January.
Yeah, it's amazing how the stories I tell. I mean, if your story was a one-off, right? But your story I hear on a daily, weekly, right? And to me, there's no explanation for this. There's something wrong with the system and the people who are working the system. And we're not assessing what's going on in order to make life, the quality of life for Caymanians better. And that's what we should be about. You shouldn't be sitting down today wondering whether you can go get your mammogram when you already had an episode of breast cancer. I mean, that's unacceptable in this day and age and in the Cayman that we live in.
And then sometimes I go to get my medication, they give it to me free. And sometimes I have to pay for it. And I said to the young lady at the pharmacy, I said, what's going on? Sometimes I come here, you give me the medication free. Sometimes you send me over to Smith Plaza to get it. I said, you're sending me around like I'm an idiot. I need to know what's going on. you know?
And then again, there's no consistency, you know. I mean, and it seems that there seems to be a lack of care for you in the system. They treat you like a robot, right?
Yes.
Bring this piece of paper, that piece of paper, this piece of paper, that piece of paper. Yeah, no. There's nobody that takes ownership of trying to help you, right? And say, okay, Mom, I can take this on now, and this is what I can do. This is what I can do. I'm going to call you 10 o'clock tomorrow, and 10 o'clock tomorrow when they call you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not rocket science, right? It just takes commitment, care, and concern for our people. Mom, I wish I could solve this all here. I would do it right now.
I hope that they listen to the conversation you brought up this morning, because I appreciate it very much. And I hope that they would do what they have to do, because there's a lot of people out there that need help. Some people got themselves in a position that they got to have it, but, you know, they got to have it, but those that really need it need to get it too also.
Absolutely. And we should be able to differentiate between that quite readily.
People work all their life from time they're very young, and now I still want a little business that I do, but if I have to live and take the little money that I make and pay the doctors all the time, what I'll have for myself when I get that I can't work at all. I wouldn't have money to buy groceries with.
Exactly. No, but that's what they want. You see, they want to get to that position where you got confidence for each thing, you know. So you increases their importance and you become dependent on them, and that's not what it should be about. We should be about trying to make you as independent and living a respectful life, so you can go in the community and nobody can cast aspersions at you because you're living a respectable life.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so.
Oh, it bleeds my heart.
I'm going to keep trying all the same. I'm not going to give up.
You don't give up. No, you don't give up.
I'm going to go back there again tomorrow, put on my mask, and going back to tomorrow and find out what's going on.
If you don't get through tomorrow, write this number down.
Okay, just let me get a pen here, please.
Mm-hmm. You know, Mr. Miller, this is where I think, you know, we hear the concerns of our people, and as you share, it often makes some feel dejected, but also very disrespected, you know, because of how the system is designed. Ready to take the number down, Mom?
Okay, go ahead.
327.
And this pen it won't work.
327.
327.
57.
57.
And 57 again.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's my personal telephone number. You don't get through tomorrow.
Well, I do have a number on my phone. I do still have a number on my phone for you, but I don't know if you changed the number or not.
No, I don't change that, Mom. This is the first.
Yeah, well, I was saying
that I was going to
call you. Yeah.
Give me a call, and I'll see what I can do to help you. Okay?
327-57-57. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a good day. And
You're
thank
welcome.
you all for everything you do.
God bless.
Okay.
God bless. Okay.
God bless, Mom. Thanks. You know, and Mr. Miller, I think this is where you're sharing, but how do we get to a place in our society where it's not just only a respectful approach, but we're offering, you know, timely and needed assistance? How do we get there? I mean, is it that difficult? Or?
Sterling, that's where we were, right? That's the man I grew up in, right? I mean, when we only had Miss Hilton, a few other people, and people like Miss D. Jackson, them doing social work, it was done with the utmost of respect, right? People got relief when they needed it, right? I mean, we can argue. Some people argue with me, yeah, but the volume has increased. So has the number of people doing it, right? And the resources have increased. It's just that we have allowed ourselves to get caught up. You know, I tell everybody that I can remember when I grew up, you went to somebody like Sir Wassel or Mr. Dennis Foster with a form for government, or Mr. Vernon Jackson or Mr. Harry McCoy. And you're the kind of people I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And something on the form wasn't right. They would look at it and say, well, Ezra, you know, this not right here, but let me fix this up here, my son, right? And you fix it, and you get your services, right? Now we go to these senior civil servants, and you look at the form and something not right, and they say, well, Ezra, you know, you You know, oh, no, you can't fill out this form. You need to get a lawyer help you with this. And go get somebody help me fill this out and come back to me. Because that's one encounter. So you come back again, that's another encounter, you see? So at the end of the year, they count all those encounters, you know, as different clients. So they justify their jobs, you see?
Well, sometimes, you know, maybe those things are being guided, as you said, by not so much them, but maybe what's above, right? Mr. Miller, let's pause.
It's not all the blame of the responsibility of the people involved. And I can tell you that I have been involved in trying to make some changes and get some changes at the way we do things at NAU through the Public Accounts Committee, and it's just not good up. And the politicians.
Well, maybe we could talk about some of those if you can. Again, respectfully, we've got to break. I know we want to engage your callers. Respectfully, we ask them to just remain online. Stay tuned for Talk Today, please.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
It's not Toolfest at A.L. Thompson's, but it's almost as good. Toolfest has been an annual two-day event since 2009, but because of current events, there will be no live demos. But that's okay, because what will be at Not Toolfest is the deepest discounts of the year on select hand tools and power tools for 3 weeks. Save big on tools by Makita, Milwaukee, Bosch, Skill, Dremel, and other power brands, and get 15% off all items in the tools department now through July 4th. Remember that Father's Day is June 21st, so give them a big boy toy from A.L. Thompson's during Not Toolfest.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners is pleased to offer a Father's Day special of 17% off on all prepaid orders, $20 and up on gents wearing apparels, starting now until June 25th at all Puritan stores. We also have a seamstress on duty to do your repairs and adjustments. For further details, please call 949-7104. Puritan Cleaners. You feel good when you look good.
Hi, this is Danny Coleman, Director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands. We are now in the hurricane season, and for information on how to prepare and stay safe, please visit our website, www.caymanprepared.ky. Some top tips to bear in mind, given that we are still in the midst of COVID-19. Please make sure you have a mask and sanitizer, you have food supplies to last for 3 to 5 days, a portable radio, personal hygiene and sanitation items, and medical supplies, and any other specific items your family may need during a hurricane. Make sure you know where you will shelter in the event of a storm. If you have pets, please make sure provisions are in place for them too, as the majority of shelters will not take pets. Please visit our website for more tips and tricks on www.caymanprepared.ky or call us on 945-4624. Stay safe, Cayman.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Governor Martin Roper makes an appeal for Caymanians to sign up for the new Defence Regiment. His Excellency says the recruitment drive has gone well so far, with 200 people signing up for the regiment. Information is available at exploregov.ky/CI regiment. In international news, the low-dose steroid treatment dexamethasone is a major breakthrough in the fight against COVID-19. It cut the risk of death by 1/3 for patients on ventilators. For those on oxygen, it cut deaths by 1/5. And had the drug been used to treat patients in the UK from the start of the pandemic, up to 5,000 lives could have been saved, researchers say. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order introducing several police reforms while rejecting calls to defund or dismantle the police. His order offers federal grants to improve police practices, including creating a database to trace abuses by officers. The order comes amid anger over the killing of African Americans by police officers. Film's biggest night is being rescheduled for the first time in 40 years due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced on Monday that the 93rd Oscars will no longer take place on February 28th as planned. Instead, the show will take place on April 25th, 2021. Those are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio K-Man on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio K-Man app or log on to our website, radiokman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And honored to have as our guest once again the excellent company of MLA, Mr. Ezra Miller. Sir, thank you very much, for allowing us to understand a little bit more. We do have some other callers online. You want us to get to those, or you have a yes, sir. Okay, let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah,
hello. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Yes, sir. How you doing? Good to hear you.
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. I'll be quick. I've been holding for quite a time, so I'll be quick. 2 points I want to raise here is, one, I noticed that the local musicians organization has been assisted by government. They got a stipend. I'm not sure if this is a one-time stipend or this is an ongoing stipend for a certain amount of month. But many of these folks still have regular jobs, still getting regular pay, but then also receiving help from or stipends from government. I wonder if that money could be better used for people who don't have any form of income. Because if you have a job, generally your bills are kind of assessed on the job, and most banks and most financial institutions aren't going to take the ad hoc type of musician income as a form of reliable income. So I think it's a bit unjust for them to cry that, hey, we lost income, but it's not a steady income.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit unfair because the people who have lost their genuine income in many different fields, not just tourism, the knock-on effect is being felt by many other industries as well. So that's something to actually about. And then the other point is, do you know, I don't know if you do, but is there any penalties for pension providers for their kind of what we call bad behavior, so to speak, not responding to emails timely, not processing applications, finding fickle reasons to reject them, and waiting until the 11th hour to make payments? It's hard for people who are applying.
They have to comply with the law. If they have not answered you within a specific time, you need to call the government pensions office and report them. And what you should do is when you email the government pension office, you should copy the pension plan so the pension plan know you're reporting them. Because it's already out in law. And one of the things that I wanted to change in the law was I thought the law was giving them too long a time to pay people.
Right.
They're supposed to respond to you on receipt of your pension application within, I think it is within 7 days, right?
Right. They're supposed to acknowledge you within 7 days. Then they got another 14 days after that to tell whether or not it's been accepted or denied.
Right.
So you're talking 21 days to hear, oh, by the way, you forgot your PO box. Oh, by the way, you forgot your phone number. Oh, by the way.
No, they can't. But that's the kind of stuff that you need to report publicly like this, right? And name and shame, and you need to report it to the pension office. Because from the time they tell you they've accepted your application, they are telling you the application is complete.
No.
Why would you accept an incomplete application?
Acknowledging receipt and approval are two different things. Is what
I know. But what I'm saying is if they acknowledge the receipt of your application, that in itself should be proof that the application was correct.
Well, I think I'm very certain that that's what most of them are doing. They're saying, hey, we got the application, we'll take a look at it. We look at it within 14 days after that, and then on 13th night at 11:30, they tell you, oh, we see that your PO box is off by a digit, or you got a wrong KY number. I see, this isn't personal. It's happened, but
yeah, no, I know that. I
need to get the form done over.
I get.
Yeah, and they say this a couple of times, stupid like that.
Right. Question is, when they're telling you now that, are they expecting you? Are they putting you back into day 1, or do you remain at day 14, day 21?
No, you gotta go back. Well, I don't know. Like
that's not right. You need to report that to the pension commissioners, because that was not the intention of the law. Then within that 14 days, if they find a defect in your application, they should notify you. They shouldn't wait, like you say, until the 13th night at 11:30 and tell you, well, your post box is missing. Right? That should have come a long time ago. What kind of processes were they doing on your application?
Right, but I mean, these people are being guided by lawyers and all the aristocrats. They tell you they know all the loopholes to find, so they put you into, this pile that they're gonna respond to on a certain day, because they know it's not good from the first day to look at it, but they don't respond to you right now. They put you in a pile, and then they respond to you later on, which takes them right up until 11th hour, and there's no repercussion. That's what I'm asking you. They're setting themselves up for failure, is what I'm saying. At some point, they're going to end up missing a response or missing a deadline. But what is the penalty? If they know there's no real penalty, there's a slap on the wrist. There's no real.
I don't have the legislation in front of me right now, and I don't want to risk misinforming you. But I think that there are fines involved if they don't do the right thing. And if I recall, they're not only fines, but they're a couple $1,000s too.
Okay.
But like I say, I don't have it. I don't have it to hand right now, right? But certainly, I would call the government pension office and tell them the difficulties you're explaining, and they should have the law in front of them when you call, and they should be able to tell you what the penalties are.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I feel really disheartened by some of the people who are asking for help, fill out forms. People are charging them money. They're not always the most literate person, computer literate or written or reading, and there's a lot of barriers, and someone like that can be frustrated really easily, can be deterred, get very depressed over the situation, and it just adds to an already frustrating environment that they're living in.
Right, and that's not the intent. The intent is to help people, but again, we run into this thing where people frustrate the process and hope you give up.
Well, that's exactly what.
But we have them. When we're only supposed to be dealing with the reports that have been published before the Public Accounts Committee, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But I may venture to ask them how is the emergency payments going, to see if they will respond. Like I say, we're really confined to the reports that have been published, annual reports, But I'll see if I can push the envelope and get some commitment. Certainly, the pension director and the chief officer can back and hide. And I can ask them. The pension providers may say, well, that's not part of the reports that were already published that they were there to answer. But I'll certainly raise some of my concerns, with the director of pensions, Mr. Dwayne Ebanks, and the chief officer when they come before me tomorrow morning.
Okay. I look forward to hearing from you next week then.
Okay. All right. Cool, man.
Take care, man.
Right. Thanks very much.
Right.
And we do have some comments on the pensions, but we do have another caller, Mr. Miller. Let's just maybe take that one as well. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, take the caller. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Shirley?
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Man, I'm a little bit tired. I was securing because I was sick.
That's all. I better be back this week. I better be Northside sweet cassava sticks. And they're yellow darkers now.
Look at now. I don't deal with the better one, you know. You hear me?
You know, them Westfields plants Northside. Them Westfields plants Northside sweet cassava, and the Northsiders plants Westfield sweet cassava, right?
Yeah, but here, you know, I do not deal with no bitter one, you know.
Exactly.
The bitter cassava would poison you, you know.
And I'll tell you one thing: a good cracker, crunchy piece of yellow darkers and a little bit of turtle mess. Not bad, you know.
Oh man, and cornbread too.
It's lunchtime, man. You guys be here.
Mr. Miller, you see? I like the little woman now and then, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It is so good. It is so good. Now, right. Mr. Miller,
yes,
Charlotte, good afternoon to you.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Yeah.
Again and again, to all too. And to everybody that can listen, that can listen and is listening to this voice, because they know who the voice belongs to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
The only reason I come on is to get talk to you, you know.
Okay then. But you got to make every day rains and shoes and all of that. You got to make every day be that. That'll be another story.
No, they would spend room on us then.
Oh, my God. Oh, listen, Mr. Miller, there is a question. And through you being the medical man that you are, hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Do you have any idea? I know the name that they is saying that has been pulled off the what do you call it? No, this oh God, I can't find that word now. But the medication that is for diabetes that is taken off.
Metformin. I think it's metformin. Yeah.
Yes. I didn't want to say it. I want you to say it. Listen to me now. Do you have any idea when that did happen?
No, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't.
Do you think you could find out something about that?
I can try and find out, yeah.
Try to find out, Mr. Miller, and I'll tell you the reason why later.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And about that lady there, about her, the insurance and all that, you got to pay for this, you got to pay for that. Listen, Mr. Miller, I do believe that you remember when some of us poor people were getting $25 a week.
Yep.
For your services. Some was getting 35, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Some wasn't getting anything at all. Okay, I can name him now, Mr. McKeown Bush. When he got in there, I was getting $35 a week.
Mm-hmm.
No, that mental health there then thought that I could live off of. Only to the fact that I had got messed up so badly, and still messed up so badly off from the old hospital. But thought that I could live off $35. When it came to the medication, I had to buy medication out of that $35. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But you see, Mr. McKeown Bush, he got me that I was I don't have to pay for medication for donkey years now. I can put it that way.
Yeah.
Long time. I don't pay for any that they have. What they don't have now, that cynical that the God didn't know, not pay me for one especially from 2016, Mr. Miller. Hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From 2016, and I keep my files and all my receipts copied and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Uh-huh.
I got somebody that is come up in there, when I say not up in Singapore now. Because there's a bunch of, I don't know what to say about them. Could work on something for me to get, I got my stuff, look at, Mr. Miller, I got medical records, not only just receipts, man. Copied from overseas, but not copied, original. From overseas, from here, from all the doctors that see me here, up to that HSA, where I got that pay all $37 for copies.
Yep.
Okay? Of people that have done me wrong. Hello?
Yeah, listen.
And I can't find a briefcase, Mr. Miller, to put these files in. So with me doing my sabotage craft, I had, for years now, I had this medium-sized shopping basket. that I had it. Someone had you want to buy it and everything. I said, no, no, no. That one I can't sell that one because I can have you that now for a briefcase. All right? Plus, I got another. I got now just yesterday. I went to some of the newer files now. I got them into an old backpack, and I can hardly lift that one up. I bought the shopping basket. I can't lift it up with one hand. I can't carry the other hand either because the shoulders thing. But then, thank God, everything is doing well. I would have to get a wheelbarrow, and then I said, no, I can't do a wheelbarrow because I can't use my hands to push a wheelbarrow, 200 push a wheelbarrow. I got how to draw it, the piece of thing that they draw your luggage on when you're traveling and things there. And I mean the one that they got the wheels, the one they can put them, put them on it and pull it and go by the business.
Yep.
I'll have to get that. And a large one too. Anyway, Mr. Miller, back about now, I was saying about the $35. Mr. McKeever got that changed too. Because the story is this now. After a while, they stopped it several times. I guess you can recall when he started to get it raised, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
It went to like 3 weeks, no $35. I made him know. He went back to him. I didn't get it back now. On that 4th week now, I didn't get, or 4 weeks now, then I got bit by bit each week. And when he got it raised up to 150, 175, 200, stopped again. Hello.
Yep.
Mr. Miller, I have. Oh, I love paper, Mr. Miller. They say pen and paper don't lie. It can lie. It can make it lie,
Oh yeah.
So the thing about it is, I got down to the very, the little ID cards that they would give you, that they used to give you the little ID cards to go pick up the little check, up to the building.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
I got all them things to say. You hear what I'm saying? on Her Majesty's envelope. Hello me, and I got them labeled what it is. Yeah. That is how smart this woman is, because people think I fool, but I so smart to them that they're the one that fool. Anyway, I got to leave one of this car getting kind of out of breath now because I was walking outside a little bit then I talking too fast and all that. Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller.
Uh-huh.
But I depended on you to check out about that metformin.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
And then, because I got your number now. I got it written down for the first time you gave it to me. And it's in my top up here. In my computer up top. Yeah, I know how to look for that one. Anyway, Mr. Miller, all the best. And no, I got some more to say to you, but I don't want to say that right now.
Yes, ma'am.
They talking about the CPA. What? Is the CPA what is the you chairman again?
Public Accounts Committee.
The PSC?
PSC.
Yes, ma'am.
I do better get a CPA from.
The letters are there.
I go on, yeah.
You take care, ma'am. You take care. All right. Thanks very much, huh? And well, Mr. Miller, this is where I think the listeners in general benefit from the perspective that you offer, and I guess with the proceedings of the Public Accounts Committee tomorrow through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
I know you always make yourself available. If you had 4 days straight, you would spend it with us. If you have 4 minutes, you always make it instructive.
But I have to leave now.
Yes, sir. So
I have to go all the way. I have to go all the way to the city. I live up here in the country, right? And I got to take a terrible drive into Georgetown,
It's worse now, huh?
To get things done. Actually, it's more pleasant now with COVID-19 because you don't have the traffic to contend with. But that just proves that working at home and staggered things can work,
Yeah. Well,
anyway, thanks for having me, Mr. Sterling. It's been good talking to the general public, and I wish everybody the best in this COVID-19 days. And stay home, stay safe, save a life. If you go out in public, wear a mask.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and trust the proceedings. We will talk to you again, sir.
Okay, thanks.
And with that, well, let's pause perhaps quickly, take a break, come back for a few minutes of some open line, 1:30, or colleagues, friends, and wonderful people at HSA will join us. We're going to talk about World Sickle Cell Day. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Always separate debris from household garbage after a hurricane. Debris includes roofing materials, tree branches, and metals. All items of debris must be placed in separate piles and must not cause obstruction to roadways or come in contact with electrical lines. For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Healthcare Pharmacy cares about your health throughout COVID-19 regulations. Our Grand Harbor location is open from Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Our Governor Square Pharmacy on 7 Mile Beach is open from Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please ensure you wear a mask when entering our pharmacies and practice safe distancing. Call ahead to refill your prescriptions or go to www.healthcarepharmacy.ky to refill and transfer prescriptions online. You can also WhatsApp your refill or transfer 329-7313.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
The Wharf restaurant is back open to the public. After donating over 20,000 meals during the lockdown, we are energized and proud to have been able to help. Book your waterfront reservations today and enjoy live music while watching the sunset on our spacious and breezy terrace. The Wharf has fresh fish and fresh local produce options every day, as well as an extensive wine list. We are family and kid-friendly with a kids menu and tarpon feeding every night. We are looking forward to welcoming you back. Call 949-2231 to book your table today at the Wharf.
Your Radio Cayman 7 a.m. news, brought to you by Cayman National, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974. Visit www.caymannational.com for up-to-date information for all your financial needs and follow us on social media.
Are you finding that your young child is anxious? Coping with COVID-19 related stress can be harder for children as they have less experience of facing big challenges. Signs that your child may need emotional support can include frequent crying or irritation, toileting accidents or bedwetting, changes in sleeping habits and appetite, frequent arguing or fighting with others, and increased physical ailments such as unexplained illnesses. For free and confidential support, call the Mental Health Helpline weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 1-800-534-MIND. That's 1-800-534-6463.
Travel between the three Cayman Islands remains restricted until further notice.
Persons may only travel between Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman to provide essential services or for emergency medical purposes. Persons traveling between any of the 3 islands may do this by contacting BRAC Travel at gov.ky with the details of their proposed travel, including purpose of visit, length of stay, accommodations, etc. Applications will be processed on a case-by-case basis. All individuals traveling to the sister islands from Grand Cayman must undergo a 14-day mandatory isolation period at a government facility. They will be tested on the 15th day, and direct transportation to the airport will be arranged if they have a negative result.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really always a pleasure to provide this avenue. I trust and pray that you find it not only entertaining and engaging, get a chance to be involved, but equally informed and be a part of not just the conversation, but help to steer the direction, to share the information, and to ensure that as a people we feel that it is a healthy and evolving democracy. Very grateful for the continued partnership with our Health Services Authority. And today we get a chance to have a discussion about World Sickle Cell Day. With that, we'll have the genetics coordinator, Nurse Joy Marion, together with pain specialist, Dr. Judith Nichols, and the general practitioner, and also the coordinator for the sickle cell, so facilitator, the meetings and the like. Wonderful lady in her own right. We've had her many times in the past, Dr. Anna Matthews. Hopefully will join us. Good afternoon first, perhaps. Nurse Joy, very pleasant good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Fine, thank you. And
right.
yourself?
Very, very blessed, very, very thankful. And I'm glad that you were able to join us. Equally, Dr. Nichols, understand that you're on the air with us as well.
Yes, thank you for having me. Well, thank you.
It is a pleasure, and I know doing this, remotely sometimes, for me anyway, I'm one of those that like to be able to see people as we're talking because it makes conversation that much easier. And,
For sure.
I trust that we can manage it, but anything we can do to improve it, please give us that feedback so we can do. But it's very important. And I'm hopeful that Dr. Matthews, I'm just going to test to see if we have her connected yet. Dr. Matthews, are you there yet? Okay, I won't pretend to do her voice for her, but she's an incredible lady. As your colleagues, you know, even more so. But as just a patient, as just a regular visitor to the HSA, like all of our colleagues, you guys are incredible. So thank you very much. Maybe we could perhaps first start off to talk about, World Sickle Cell Day and the like, and perhaps this year, when is it? And maybe help us to appreciate the main objectives as to, what we're looking for as we celebrate World Sickle Cell. Nurse Joy, Dr. Nichols, who do we go to first? Nurse Joy?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Well, World Sickle Cell Day is observed every June 19th. And the main objective for World Sickle Cell Day is raising public awareness of the disease. Back in 2008, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution recognizing sickle cell disease as a public health problem. And because of that, from then on, they, started with the World Sickle Cell Day. And Cayman has had the privilege of being a part of that ever since, from 2009 forward.
Okay, thanks very much. And with that, perhaps, Dr. Nichols, we could maybe ask of you, for those who don't necessarily appreciate it, tell us a little bit about sickle cell disease. Is it something that is contagious? Do you inherit it? Sometimes we hear things so often that we don't really appreciate them. The little we know about it, and the more we learn, the more we appreciate there's more to learn. So if you would respectfully help us to understand more about sickle cell disease.
Certainly.
I'm by no means an expert on sickle cell disease. Let me give that disclaimer. But no, it's not contagious. It is a genetically inherited disease. And what I mean by genetically, meaning that it's passed on through your genes from either one or two parents that may have either a full-blown sickle cell disease or a trait, which is a combination of regular hemoglobin, which is what carries our oxygen to our bodies, and any type of sickle or abnormal hemoglobin, because there are different types. And generally, we have the overall sickle cell disorders. And what is expected is that you have to have some kind of what we call homozygous, meaning that it's within the same entity of, you have that inheritance of the HBS gene, or whether it's HBC or HB beta thal. There are different types that can be inherited, different what we call genotypes or makeup. So essentially it is a genetic disorder. You have to have a parent that you've inherited it from, and that parent may have the sickle hemoglobin plus one normal hemoglobin. The parent or another parent might have that same makeup, and then if there's a 25% chance that the child would have both sickle hemoglobin, making them HBSS, or it can be a different combination of abnormal hemoglobin.
Okay. And what about diagnosis? How is it diagnosed?
So it's diagnosed through a series of genetic testing. I mean, usually if you can determine before a child is born what the parent's genetic makeup is, then you have an idea of what the likelihood of a child being born with some kind of sickle cell disorder is. And then based on that, you can use a high degree of suspicion depending on when the child is born, based on their symptoms. If they present with any symptoms fairly early on in life, then you would go on to do your formal genetic testing, test the hemoglobin strains to figure out whether or not that child had inherited any of the sickle hemoglobins or abnormal hemoglobins.
Okay. Now, I know, Nurse Joy, that for many times you've, tell us the importance of looking at our genetics to understand many things, including sickle cell disease, sickle cell trait, and maybe we can talk about that at some point. But if I'm not asking the question improperly, what would a visit to you for prospective people look like? They come in, they want to know, their genetic sort of makeup, and they're like, do we take and put them in a flatbed scanner and roll them over? Do we camp outside and turn them over in the sand? Not trying to be too funny, but what does that look like?
Okay, well, often parents are referred to me if we do newborn screening here in Cayman, and so if a baby's result comes back and it says the child has sickle cell trait, then that parent will be referred to me. Of course, since COVID, it's mainly I've been doing my counseling over the phone. But pre-COVID, I would always bring the patient, and we will get back after this pandemic. Would bring the patient to the office and would talk with them, tell them about, just like Dr. Nichols has mentioned, what is sickle cell, share with them what it's about, what it is not, and how it is inherited, that if both parents have the trait, then with each pregnancy you do run a 25% risk of the kid having the disorder, or a 25% chance that the child will not have the trait, or a 50% or disease, or a 50% chance that the child would have the trait, or having the trait is the same as being a carrier. And so I go through that information, various informations with them, depending. In regard to the trait, I can cover that in a little bit. And also, I will draw the family tree. I will share leaflets with them, and always let them know they can call me back. Once they've read the leaflets, please call me if there's something that isn't clear or there's a question. I'll do my best to answer that. So
Well, that's I think as you shared the importance of us understanding as much as we can about ourselves, our health, and the like. And from that, Dr. Nichols, if we could ask, as a pain specialist, are we then to infer that in this instance, people with sickle cell, again, for those who don't know, you know,
Hmm.
is there significant pain? Is there pain associated? What are some of the common causes of the pain, if there are?
Well, usually the pain in sickle cell disease is the most common presentation. And usually when it's at its earliest presentation, there's an acute, what we call painful crisis, or us medical people will use the term vaso-occlusive crisis. And that's actually considered what we call the hallmark or the kind of warning sign that somebody has sickle cell disease. What's the most common presentation? And so some patients with sickle cell disease have some ongoing chronic pain, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But what tends to be most common is the acute pain, very abrupt onset, severe, very debilitating pain, can affect very common joints in the body,
Hello?
knees, hips. They can have bone pain to the legs, back pain. And what that is usually caused by is because you have these sickle hemoglobins, and there are certain triggers that cause the red cells to adopt that sickle shape. And usually red cells have a donut shape which flows easily through the bloodstream.
Yeah, sorry, Dr.
But if
Nichols, I
there's
think
a
that's Dr. Matthews joining us, right?
okay, great.
Yeah, sorry, Dr. Matthews, you are live, and Dr. Nichols was just talked to us about pain. So we are hearing you, and respectfully, we'll just get you in one quick second as Dr. Nichols will tell us about the pain. Hey, you see the technology? You can't see, but you can hear, right?
I can't hear very well, but
We'll get it. Thank you. Yeah. So, Dr. Nichols, the pain then,
Yeah.
and that is
So
okay.
So usually, because there's that issue with the red cells becoming in that sickle shape, they become more crystallized, and they essentially block the blood flow to joints, to muscles, sometimes to very major organs, and that causes pain. Because if you decrease any kind of oxygen supply, blood flow, it causes pain, and usually that can be triggered by anything from ongoing illness, whether it's a viral infection or bacterial infection, or dehydration, extreme cold temperatures, extreme windy temperatures, and sometimes there's no trigger at all. And that tends to be the most common presentation, very severe acute pain, mainly affecting the joints. And that's actually considered a very serious medical emergency and something that needs to be addressed very acutely and very quickly. How you address it depends on how severe the pain is at the time. Usually in a very acute crisis, it's very severe pain, and that usually requires some amount of emergency treatment in the emergency department. Addressing the triggers that caused it, along with treating the pain itself. And then if we go on, a large percentage of patients, about 1/3 of them, actually develop chronic pain. So when you meet a sickle cell patient in adulthood, usually they will tell you they always have pain, or there's some degree of underlying pain. And that's partly because there's kind of ongoing inflammation as a result of all these repeated kind of insults to your blood flow. And some of it is ongoing nerve damage that can occur because of the insults of blood flow. So pain is a very big part of living with sickle cell.
If I may ask then, and again, just recognizing, especially perhaps this time that we're sort of facing, and people may be afraid, a bit reluctant to venture out for medical treatment, even if they have pain. I would probably share any pain you're engaged in that is severe, as you shared, seek emergency medical help. But if a person who, for some reason, may be unknown to them that they are, have sickle cell disease and they're having this pain, they then go to the ER and explain this pain. Would it be fairly easy for the physicians then and there to recognize, yes, this is sickle cell and the pain isn't related to something else?
Well, usually you kind of treat both things at the same time. So if you believe there's some other underlying cause, because remember they're triggers, if you believe that there might be triggered by an infection or some kind of acute injury, then you treat that and you address that at the same time. But you always have to kind of prioritize the fact that this is a sickle cell patient, and that patient would have that history, and from the beginning, from the time they present to the emergency department, they're trained to recognize that this is a problem. But if you don't treat the pain that they present with acutely, it can actually get worse, because it's almost like a cycle situation, you know.
So then, may I then ask them, before we ask again, appreciate Dr. Matthews joining us. Before I ask Dr. Matthews to weigh in, how likely is it that a person, an adult later on in life, to all of a sudden, present with sickle cell, or if there's sickle cell disease, would they have had symptoms from very early on in life, or will it come on in adolescence, in late adulthood?
Actually, with sickle cell disease, it is usually picked up early in infancy.
Right.
At birth, it is not usually very obvious because of the other hemoglobins that are there at birth, but within a couple of months,
now, is that
evidence of the disease. What children use, in other words, usually present as a child, most cases, and what children tend to present with is the what we call dactylitis, which is an inflammation, a type of arthritis of the joints of the hand, and it's very pathognomic. It looks a certain way, the fingers get swollen, they're painful, and they have this sausage shape that we picked up. After that, if you don't present that way, you will probably present with other types of pain. Sometimes the child might present with jaundice, fever, or in very rare occasions, they could present with evidence of occlusion of the blood vessel. Example, a stroke or altered consciousness.
Wow. And then when we look at it, because I think that, well, Dr. Matthews, as a general practitioner of the HCC, but you also the sickle cell group meeting facilitator, for the general public, because sometimes these things, it's only us who are involved in it directly, either because it affects us or we have close family and friends. For the wider public, most things, what is it? He who feels it knows it. In the words of our Marla, so to speak. These meetings, what are they like, and what to what extent the general public can benefit from understanding that there is this support group meeting being facilitated at HSA?
Well, I didn't quite get all of the question because the connection is not that great. But from what I'm gathering, is that you're asking how can the general public be of help, or?
Yeah, and also too. Yeah, I do apologize. Maybe we can figure out how we can fix that connection. But how can we help? How can we also be sensitive to it? And then with the meetings themselves, it's unfortunate sometimes. It's only the people who are affected directly, and sometimes are impacted by something that they appreciate what is happening. For those of us who do not have an access, may not be able to as much. Yeah.
Well, like everything else, knowledge and awareness and public education is very important. And it's not only general public, because even sometimes in some health facilities, you might find a person who's a sickler presenting with pain. And unless you know about the disease and know how it can present and how devastating it can be, some of these persons sometimes are thought of as being drug seekers. And you can imagine now, if you are in pain and you're afraid to go to the hospital because you think that you'll be looked up on as, drug seeking, that adds to the anxiety, which also can precipitate a painful crisis.
Yes.
So one of the things that is very important is that the public is aware. The public should know that it is in the community. They should know that although it is not catching per se, they should know how it is inherited. And also, if those persons who are interested in maybe getting married or is interested to find out whether or not their children will be at risk, I think prenatal screening and counseling is also a very important factor that one has to consider.
Right. And I'm glad you referenced that too, especially during this time as Nurse Joy was sharing that, how we're looking at healthcare, education, and so much more during this scenario that we are going through. Given that sickle cell, as you shared, is a genetic, we know, well, we hear about, fibromyalgia, and when you're talking about pain and the like, um, is there probability that sometimes we would confuse the two in the absence of genetic testing and without knowing the history, that we may confuse fibromyalgia with sickle cell?
I don't think you would, because
Okay.
I think by the time you become, and usually, if I'm not mistaken, fibromyalgia is diagnosed in adults.
Right.
And if you are a sickler, by the time you're an adult, you'll know about it. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Because
So
the condition, the symptoms and the presentation of the condition recurs, Because I don't know what was said before I came on, but if we know what the pathogenesis of the disease or of the symptoms, what it mainly is, is that because of the abnormal hemoglobin in the blood cells, the blood cells have abnormal forms, takes abnormal forms under certain conditions of stress, of cold, of infection, etc., etc. And what happens then, you have occlusion of the blood vessels. And occlusion of the blood vessels lead to a lack of oxygen to the tissues of the body. And the lack of oxygen results in certain chemicals that causes pain. So it's very important what Dr. Nichols is telling us today about pain, because that is one of the most outstanding and the most common presentation of the illness. And you will have had pain before you become an adult in most cases.
okay, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I was going to ask if it's okay. I would re-ask a question because I know at one point I missed a bit too, just because of, I guess, the internet connection. But I would just wanted to repeat, just for my own edification. It is unlikely, as you shared, then for someone in adulthood to only then discover that they're sickle cell, not only because of the screenings that we do here, but even in the absence of screenings, they would have more than likely presented much earlier in life and have been determined. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
especially if you have fibromyalgia, because there are no formal genetic tests for for fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
Or really
Sorry, I think we have. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I think we have both. Again. Yeah. Don't.
Sorry about that.
May I just ask, and this is one of the beautiful things of being able to work remotely, but also one of the challenging things. I do apologize. Are you all hearing each other okay, or is it
I
when
can actually hardly hear Dr.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anybody.
Okay. That seems to be, it was working so good just now with the callers and Mr. Miller, huh? I tell you. All right. More work for Mr. Fox to figure out. All right. Well, let's try to get that. Sorry, Dr. Matthews was saying something, and so was Dr. Nichols. Dr. Matthews, do you want to continue and then see if we can hear everybody?
No, what I was saying is that by the time you become an adult, you definitely would have been diagnosed if you have the full-blown sickle cell disease, because by that time you would have had a number of incidences of the hallmark of disease, which is obstruction of the blood vessels, and what happens after you get obstruction of the blood vessels.
Okay.
Right? That is the hallmark. That's the pathognomic feature. That's what brings on the symptoms. Okay. not only because of the abnormal hemoglobin that is in the blood cells, which under certain conditions causes them to change shape, be sickled, and hence cannot navigate the very small blood vessels. That leads to blockage of the blood vessels, which leads to lack of oxygen to the tissues, and because when you lose oxygen, you're going to get injury and probably death of certain tissues, and of course, you get pain along with it. That's just it in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are other things, but like for instance, the blood vessels, the blood cells become leaky, they become sticky. In other words, their circulation is not as good as it usually is. By the time you are an adult, Dr. Nichols can elaborate fibromyalgia, but I've never seen a child being diagnosed with fibromyalgia, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, only. Yeah. Thanks. I'll leave it to you, Dr. Nichols, but I certainly don't want to take away the focus from sickle cell. But just if it helps the edification, I'll be guided by you.
Yeah. Well, fibromyalgia, as Dr. Matthews said, is usually a diagnosis made in adulthood. The other important thing to know about fibromyalgia
I can't hear
there are no
Dr. Nichols right now.
Genetic tests or no really radiological tests for fibromyalgia. We diagnose it based on symptoms, and usually it's a diagnosis of exclusion, meaning that you have ruled out any other causes before you arrive at a diagnosis of fibromyalgia. So it's very unlikely that somebody would present with pain for the first time and be diagnosed as having fibromyalgia.
Okay, and with that then, as we're looking at the whole issue with respect to sickle cell, and Nurse Joy, if you if you can hear me, okay, and again, I do sincerely apologize for that. Okay, try your best to hear to them. The sickle cell we're talking about and sickle cell trait, we know from previous discussions and even just generally that there is, is there a difference? And what is sickle cell trait?
Okay, basically you were saying in regard to the difference with sickle cell trait and sickle cell diseases. Yes, of course. And with sickle cell trait, the child or the person has inherited one of the sickle genes from one parent and a normal gene from the other. So with the trait, same way is said as if you are a carrier, then under normal circumstances you would stay healthy. However, there are times under extreme difficulties where there can be certain complications. So because of that, there are some things that you need to avoid. And I'm going to hand over to Dr. Matthews in a minute, but I'm just going to run down a quick list here. If you have sickle cell trait, you really need to avoid high altitudes, because the higher you go, the less oxygen there is, and you can get shortness of breath, chest pain, and various other things. So avoid high altitudes, avoid scuba diving and free diving, like when you're diving down deep, with counts, to get counts and so. Mm-hmm. You need to drink adequate fluids to avoid dehydration. And you need to really pace yourself when you're exercising or playing sports. Rest if you need. If you realize and I tell the parents, I said, before the child goes on the playing field, you teach them from the time they're young. They must drink a little water. When they get on the playing field, if they start feeling not well, pace themselves, slow down a little bit. If they're feeling too badly, get attention and seek help, medical help if needed, but certainly speak with the teacher, whoever is doing the PE. Those are some things. And also to have a yearly urine dipstick for blood throughout life. If you happen to see blood in your urine, then you need to check that out with a doctor and get it fully evaluated. And there are some other things, but those are a few things to avoid if you do have sickle cell trait.
Okay. And then, Dr. Matthews, I mean, I do recognize you guys are extremely busy, and thank you. Yes, ma'am. So with this now, as we sort of close our discussion on it, and we're celebrating, World Sickle Cell Day coming up on the 19th, I'm told. What more would you want us as the public, and in particular, as to know about the disease and what we can do? What are some of your closing thoughts?
Okay, I'm just going to touch on sickle cell. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sickle cell trait. The thing is, sickle cell trait was always considered to be a benign disorder because by definition, you're not a sickler if you only have the trait. In other words, you have only inherited one bad gene or a gene from one parent. The thing is, under normal circumstances, usually there are no symptoms. In fact, we were taught all along that it is a totally asymptomatic condition. What we have come to find out, though, is that some sicklers do get some symptoms. They do get the joint pain sometimes, right? But usually it is brushed off as being done. It's being caused by something else. Now, what we have come to realize too is that there are certain conditions associated with the traits. For instance, heat intolerance. You have, and this came about when you had lots of these athletes these elite athletes in the States who used to be in supposedly in good health. They go on the field and they drop dead. What is happening there is that it has become to recognize that it is because of the extreme heat. The body just cannot adjust as quick enough as a normal person would. And, it causes that. You have rapid breakdown of muscle tissue, which, of course, cause certain chemicals to get in the blood and the sequelae after that. Another thing that can, we're talking about people under normal are not ill, who went out there and because of the heat, they had a stroke and they died. Apart from that, under certain conditions, you can get the symptoms that you would get as a sickler. As Nurse Marin just mentioned about under conditions of low oxygen, for instance, if you decide that you are going up the mountain, up the top of the mountain, or if you're a diver, or in situations where there is an infection, or, you can get lots of symptoms, the symptoms associated, as you would get in the disease itself. There's also a particular cancer, which is very rare, but it is seen mainly in patients with sickle cell trait. It is known as it's a very aggressive cancer, and it can occur. So one of the things that we have to look out for, that if you have the trait and you are normal, really healthy, you start having blood in the urine. It is not just to pass off and say, well, it's because I have the trait. Because this is one of the things that can occur too. You can get painless hematuria, which is painless bleeding when you pass urine, and it usually, most times, it is innocuous. But if it does occur, you ought to seek medical attention so that everything else can be ruled out, because it could be something serious. Okay? And I mentioned, of course, the sudden death that can occur from physical exertion, and also the heat intolerance. So it's not as it's not as asymptomatic and benign as one is thinking. Now, the reason why I am bringing up these facts is because Cayman has become a very cosmopolitan society, and although you might say, okay, it's a genetic thing and it's only occurring in people who live in certain areas of the world and certain type of people, not so. Because what is happening that you could have the trait and don't know, right? You could marry somebody who has a trait and you don't know. Okay? So we have a lot of traits out there. And now and again I pick up one or two when they come with something like a abnormal pain or some other thing. I say, but wait, you have the trait. Oh yes, I have the trait. But other people don't know. So it's important to as I said, genetic counseling, and also to more or less ask the person you're going to be married to or the person you're going to have a child with about their family history, and also be aware that you could be subject to some of the illnesses that as occur in the person with the full-blown disease.
And this is where I think having these group meetings, having this education, and certainly Nurse Marion, as a genetics coordinator, being able to have the tests, and then of course, Dr. Nichols, if you are diagnosed, to be able to have the pain management available, makes our society, that much stronger. In closing, perhaps Dr. Nichols and then Nurse Marion, any quick closing thoughts you may want to share with us?
Well, one thing I'd like to share very quickly is, of course, COVID is on everybody's mind now. And the thing to remember, if you have sickle cell disease or disorder, it is an underlying disease. And so the main thing you want to do is to prevent COVID, and that is the same reason I want to say that we recommend that persons with sickle cell disorder get a flu shot each year because, sickle cell disorder is an underlying disease, and, you can have more complications, whether it's the flu or whether it's COVID. With it, it doesn't mean you will, but the main thing to do is to prevent. So, to practice physical distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands frequently, make sure you keep your hands away from your face, and to basically to stay home and only come out if you really, really need to. But if you are having symptoms, to seek medical help. Dr. Nichols and Dr. Matthews, over to you.
What I wanted to just mention is that there are a number of issues that are unique to anybody with an ongoing chronic condition, but essentially it goes to education and ensuring you know what your triggers are, ensuring what you can do at home, what strategies you can do. And then I'm not only talking just about medication, because it involves a wide variety of different medications working on different parts of the pain pathway, which I didn't really get to go into, that overall helps to decrease the painful symptoms. And then psychological treatment is very important, knowing what your coping strategies are, deep breathing, relaxation, things like hypnosis, and then your physical strategies, things like massage, using your physical therapy, and essentially making sure you avoid triggers. And then the other social aspects need to come into play, and this is where education is a big adjunct, because employers need to be aware of what the challenges are, because a lot of patients with sickle cell disease, they have issues finding employment, especially in adulthood, because the likelihood of them taking days home or sick days is very high. And then that feeds into the ongoing psychological stress, and that ultimately makes the outcome and the symptoms worse.
Hoping that, we not only as we celebrate World Sickle Cell Day, but we also be able to have these, ongoing conversations. Dr. Matthews, your final thoughts.
Yes, my final thought is that public education and public information is very important, because people who are suffering with the illness, I can tell of patients who have borne the pain rather than let their employee know that they're sickler, believe it or not, because they think they're going to catch it, or they think that they're going to be sick, or they immediately, their job is at once at risk, and that type of thing, also coping mechanisms, as Dr. Nichols mentioned, and of course public education. And also, the more we can educate the public, the more information we can give, the more I think we can get empathy and sympathy, and it will make life better for persons affected with the disorder.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you raising that issue about health insurance. It's been highlighted now, problem more than ever. Maybe it is a conversation that we have because of, these underlying traits and genetic disorders, but also just generally. Thank you each, for sharing with us. I invite you to have a very safe and enjoyable rest of your week, and look forward to welcome you again on our, panel for these discussions. Take care of yourselves and talk to you very soon. All right.
Okay. Thanks for having us, Sherry. Thank you.
My pleasure. Always my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Amen. You too. And to our listeners, we're going to pause now and take a short break, but please join us when we return.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The health minister encourages the community to continue or reach out to support the Cayman Islands Blood Bank. The blood bank is low on O-positive and O-negative blood types at this time. They are located at the Red Cross on Huldah Avenue, across from the cricket grounds in Georgetown. You can find out more about how to book an appointment to donate blood at bloodbank.ky or call 244-2674. In international news, the low-dose steroid treatment dexamethasone is a major breakthrough in the fight against COVID-19. It cut the risk of death by 1/3 for patients on ventilators. For those on oxygen, it cut deaths by 1/5. And had the drug been used to treat patients in the UK from the start of the pandemic, up to 5,000 lives could have been saved, researchers say. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order introducing several police reforms while rejecting calls to defund or dismantle the police. His order offers federal grants to improve police practices, including creating a database to trace abuses by officers. The order comes amid anger over the killing of African Americans by police officers. Film's biggest night is being rescheduled for the first time in 40 years due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced on Monday that the 93rd Oscars will no longer take place on February 28th as planned. Instead, the show will take place on April 25th, 2021. Those are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
You love your dad. A.L. Thompson's loves all dads. So we're offering gift ideas at discounts to help you get him what he wants this Father's Day. There's an 82-inch LG 4K Ultra High Def Smart TV on sale for just $19.95 and a 32-inch Smart LED TV for $219. Perhaps he'd want the Cool Zone ultrasonic dry misting system, or Bose headphones, a smartwatch, a Weber grill, a paddleboard, a power tool, or a Conair massager and groomer. See A.L. Thompson's special prices on Father's Day gift ideas at althompson.com and give Dad a gift he'll love.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic, your life connected.
You know, when we look back at our teens, quite often we come to appreciate our parents' efforts to keep us safe. What was restrictive then becomes sound reasoning as an adult. The current curfews are much the same. Temporary restrictions for our community with your long-term health and welfare in mind. We will mature through these challenging times and emerge stronger. Stay responsible now so that our future can be bright. Hashtag stay home, Cayman.
Stop the spread of coronavirus by washing your hands with soap frequently. If none is available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Stay at home whenever you can. Avoid close contact with people outside your household by staying a minimum of 6 feet apart and wear a mask while in public. For more information, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your continued patience and participation, for your appreciation of our endeavor to ensure that we have not only meaningful, involved, and informed conversation, but one that includes you so that at the end of the day, the information you get is not only timely, accurate, but also, of great value. I'm always honored that our guests, especially, when we recognize that during this time, and as considering during lunchtime in the day, people have a lot on their table. So for that continuing partnership with the good friends over at the Health Services Authority to be able to sit with us, we just had two physicians and a nurse, Dr. Matthews, Dr. Nichols, and Nurse Baring join us, a wealth of knowledge and expertise. And that combined experience, when we just focus on sickle cell disease in particular, could be very informative, not only giving us perspective to be respectful, but to appreciate the things that are transpiring in our communities, as Dr. Matthews has shared. A very obvious but profound statement. They came out of today because one, of the size of the population, two, the growing and ever changing demographic. We have a lot of things in our communities that we may not realize, and perhaps when we're thinking of family planning and the like, as we prepare a safe, loving, nurturing home, are we looking at our genetics so that inadvertently we may cause our offspring to be impacted in a way? But even if we understand the probability of those things happening, or we can still you know employ very effective strategies, not just to mitigate, but to ensure an excellent quality of life perhaps now even as we look at the testing for other things, sickle cell disease and sickle cell trait, we shouldn't just wait for the newborn. Perhaps there are things that we could consider again in our planning and our preparation. Well, we invite you to be a part of the discussion, 949-8037, or a toll-free call at 1-800-534-8255. Today is Tuesday, and well, you were probably accustomed and conditioned for weekly or daily political briefings, and then now they were, Mondays and Fridays, and now Tuesdays and Fridays. Well, it's now tomorrow, so it won't be one today. Some of you have shared it's just another way to keep us confused and again ever more, sort of vested, or is it just that we're responding to changing times? Well, if you sit on your hands and you keep your eyes closed and your head's buried in the sand, well, be careful what unfolds. But if you actively engage and involve in a very proactive and responsive manner, maybe you'll have to steer the agenda as opposed to being hit, by that ball dangling from the end of the crane when it whacks you upside the head and you didn't see it coming from left field. It happens. What I said, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Those talk about being prepared is, part of the key to success. Well, what is on your mind? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Very grateful that Dr. Matthews would reference the importance of, healthcare. Uh, and with that, the notion of health insurance, adequate insurance, for the populace. And as I was listening to her and thinking about the comments, not taking any out of context from what she shared, but to consider, the earlier conversation with MLA, Mr. Ezra Miller, and the callers who also commented from the things that we've heard at the political briefings and the questions, and almost the constant reminder that now more than ever, the importance of adequate health insurance, the importance of people making sure that they seek medical help, not just in an emergency situation, but the concerns of physicians, you know, that people, because of a fear that they don't want to venture out, maybe they've become, like pigeons in a coop where you keep the door closed. Now the door is open, they don't come out anymore because they're so conditioned. There are many people here and elsewhere who are no longer going to venture out to get uh, treatment, perhaps to even follow up if they were ongoing treatment. Not only because the facilities were closed, but again, that fear. Well, health insurance. Do you think there's a way to make the system more effective, more efficient, to provide that level of coverage for our populace so that the healthcare and the needs of the people when it comes to looking after their health and well-being, including, you know, getting some of the diagnosis and the diagnostic treatment, as well as some of the things that may, for some reason, been coded as elective, but also the counseling to keep them well grounded, to ensure that quality of life is ever improving. Is there a way that our healthcare system can accommodate that? Well, you may have a perspective. Certainly would invite you to share with us. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. We've received a number of messages in one form or another, and it's incredible. As one lady wrote, she says, it's not that she necessarily has more time on her hands, still the same 24 hours. She may be sleeping a lot less, eating a lot more, but certainly trying to exercise, or at the very least, you know, dress as if she's doing so and venture out with intent to do so. But what she's found is that there is somehow, in her view, more of an impetus, more of a deliberate attempt to seek information and to share it, and not as conjecture and speculation, and not as fake news, but sometimes to read something and to very constructively critique what is read. Many of us have probably formed different electronic groups with which we share information. Now, everybody has to be mindful that we don't put ourselves in a place where what we see is coming back to us and we end up in some sort of an echo chamber. I want to refer to you to some of the comments that were shared with us, but let's take this for next caller. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, how are you today, my friend? How are you?
I am very thankful and pleasantly blessed. You know, we have been complaining for a very long time about the foreigners are taking our jobs and this, that, and the other. Well, perhaps now is the time for us to equip the locals with regards to the hospitality industry, which we know has been seriously affected. So we have a lot of time on our hands now to properly train these youngsters. So the challenge must be to go into the schools. You know that you will be able to identify those that are not going. I will keep on this topic until something is done. You'll be able to identify those in the schools that are not going to be doctors and lawyers and on the top echelon of the scale in the employment world. So you'll be able to quickly identify those and encourage them to get involved in the hospitality industry. I mean, I keep saying, you know, when I was a young man, you know, going to some of the establishment on the Westbury Road, you know, you saw faces like Andy Martin and those guys. They were the bartenders then, right? And they made a decent living off it with their tips, their gratuities and stuff like that. Encourage the youngsters to get involved, and at the end of the day, I think that we will be able to take back some of these jobs that we've been complaining about. No sense complaining, you know. One thing I can't stand, Dwayne, is people who come out and complain, but they have no ways and means of solving it. They just may tell you that, Dwayne, boy, that wall don't look square, you know. But if I can't tell you how to correct that wall, why am I complaining about? So if you're not gonna be a part of the solving, you know, it's easy to identify stuff, but if you're not gonna give ways and means of solving those problems, then and here I'm giving you the problem, the systematic problem that we say we were having, and now I'm telling you the ways in which we can stop this now and take back some of these jobs. We got a lot of time on our hands, so no argument about time. How long will it take for you to teach somebody how to mix a margarita? Not long, right? How long will it take for you to teach somebody how to make a bed? Not long, you know. And we know that the heavy tourism not gonna be back here until at least around about November, December. We still got a lot of time on our hands. 3 months is adequate time to train up people to do those kind of things. So there's no excuse now. You know, get out there, get to the schools, encourage these youngsters. You don't have to come out and be a doctor. We understand you're not going to be a doctor, but you can come out and you can earn a very decent salary. So this is what we want you to do. And here's the areas that you can jump right in right away. And remember, you know, I heard Teresa on the other talk show this morning. She said something that you know really made me think. I got a lot of time and a lot of respect for Teresa. She said that someone once said, you know, hang on, we don't go around to immigration and approve a work permit, you know. It is immigration approving a work permit. It is us that is approving these work permits, you know. So if we tool our children up and we say, hey, look, we're not issuing no work permits in this area, then no work permits can be issued. But if we issuing the work permit, how are we gonna blame the foreigner? We can't blame the foreigner, you know. It is us that is issuing these work permits.
But as I listen to you, though, I'm also inclined to think of what I'm hearing equally is one job, whether it's in the hospitality sector, but like every job, you as you do the job, do it well, you learn, you improve. Whether you're a bartender, whether you're working in a hotel, cleaning the rooms, whether you're in the kitchen and helping. If you do the job, you can improve your ability, improve at you know doing that job. But are you also saying too that as a people, we need to kind of tell our children, make our society know that not only is there money in this job, there's value in this job, there's respect in this job, and for us to approach jobs in a different way. We seem to have given some mixed messages to people.
Very much, Dwayne. And you see, again, a lot of that starts. Uh, the child is being told this from a very young age. Boy, if you're not in the bank, if you're not this, you're not that, then basically you're nobody. No, that's not the case. It just needs to be stressed to these people that, these people is making some serious money. And then talking about tooling, we got a lot of professionals here that couldn't get jobs. Well, right now we got a lot of them who have left the island. I would hope that they're not allowed to come back until our Caymanians or professionals take up some of these jobs. Okay? Because,
I want to ask you.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. Finish your point, please. I do apologize, but I want to
I'm
ask
just
you.
saying it is so sad to know the kind of intellect that we have here, the kind of expertise we have here. But if it is very sad that if it's not coming from the United States or Great Britain, it really means nothing. It really, really means nothing, and that's really bad because why are we sending our people away for them to be trained? Why? Why are we doing that? Why bother with it? If we gonna send our Caymanians away to be trained in whatever field, and they spend some of them spend 5, as much as 8 years in college, uh, getting equipped, getting the knowledge. Then you're going to bring them back in and you say, well, boy, you need 5 years experience. How in the hell are they going to get 5 years experience when they've been in school for the last 5 years? We have to afford them the right to get this experience.
It's maybe, and maybe there are two things I want to ask of you, perhaps. Sometimes it's good to be able to be in a position where you can get information, people share with you, you learn things, right? It would appear that there is not just a perception, but seems to be a practice, even now that new work permits are being granted and people are coming to the country. That's great. We can be a place that people are attracted to and can grow and develop and be beneficial for all. But it seems that, as you just shared, that we're still displacing those who are here, whether Caymanian or not, who are unemployed. And to what extent do we know what the population is like? What is the shift? Did X go out and Y come in? Is it one more than the other? And how is that composed? I mean, do you think that information is readily available and has it been shared with the public so we understand where we are from the population dynamic?
Well, it should be. It should be an easy stats. One of those easy stats to compile because we know who have left the island. We know what field they were involved in because clearly no Caymanians didn't leave Cayman to go seek shelter somewhere else. I don't think we had any that brave. So it would be those persons that was involved in various fields of employment in Cayman. That should be very easy.
Yeah, but seemingly it's not being shared. I mean, I've heard questions being asked, and very little information is. I don't know if it's a challenging situation or not, but we'll see. Maybe we're just not persistent enough. And then, secondly, you referenced earlier about everybody going to work in the banks. Uh, just this weekend alone, one of the many conversations that I had, one individual, relayed, why she ended up in banking versus tourism. And I thought it was the money. I thought it was, the prestige. Would you be willing to play a quick game with me and venture what you think the answer was? She could have went into either sector because financial services, or as we called it back then, banking and tourism were the two pillars, being champion. She wanted to go in tourism but end up in banking. Do you know why she picked?
Well, I would go on the assumption that she picked banking because everyone in that particular time thought that banking was the prestigious field to be in.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I thought so too.
That is what I would have thought. I mean,
Yep.
I stand corrected.
No, well, I thought, and I've thought that's all along. That was the reason why she took it, the prestige, the pay, and all those things, right? And she said to me, nope. The reason that she went into banking is that when time comes that she could apply for a mortgage to get her home,
Right.
it was easier. Easier, not because she was making more money, easier not because she was working with the bank, but easier because the salary that she got in the hospitality sector, in the hotel or the condo, where it was then, right, was a certain amount, but the majority came from the tips, the gratuity, and that was not taken into account when the bank were calculating how much money she made, right? So
Yeah, and rightly so. I mean, you can't really kill the bank for that because the
I don't
bank
know. Can you?
give you.
Have we given the banks a bit of a easy pass for way too long? I mean, considering what they may be the practice, the same bank who has an office here, has an office in Bermuda or Bahamas or some other Caribbean territory, was the practice the same there as they employed it here? When it comes to the Caymanians, the locals, the Bahamians, the Bermudans, or whatever they are, and whatever island they were, qualifying for a loan, because it's not a mortgage, it's a loan to buy a piece of land to build a house. Was it the same practice?
Yeah. I don't know how they work it with regards to whether they accept tips, gratuities, as a solid base salary in order to determine your what your debt service ratio is. I would think it would be incredibly difficult for the bank to give you, because what the bank would be doing in essence is giving you a loan on assumption, assuming that next month you're going to make X amount of $1,000 for gratuities. The bank get caught. That's a very, very ticklish position for the bank to be in.
Fully understand the perspective. Yep, the risk management. I'm with you on that.
Clearly.
Yeah, but the reason, I guess, why I raised it is because if we look at that and we look at physical ownership of property, may give you a vested interest, may make you feel more connected, may give you more incentive to doing more and doing better and all those things, right? And here we are now in this year that I don't know, the 21st century, and understanding that we are somewhat over time, but it's a conversation that we probably look at when we're considering what things happened in the past and what changes, if necessary, we should take going forward to look at home ownership, to look at ownership in our country for Caymanians. If, again, if as she shared, she would be making less in the bank, right? But it's a fixed income, and the money in the private in the hospital sector would have not been counted because it was gratuity and tip. But what if, as alleged, the Caymanian tips and gratuities are discounted, but the person on a work permit is somehow looked at to be included? Again, are these discriminatory practices that may have been just allowed?
Yeah, it's I mean, but you're gonna get discrimination in just about any way in any subject we want to bring up today. There will be discrimination, obviously, towards the foreign entity, and that's really sad, but it's the truth. I don't pay it any mind. I saw something about the guy with the killing of the guy up there in the States. I despise it. That it was despicable. But to say I'm going to go again and start to create some rally to, no, I'm not into that kind of thing. But the racism is here, it's prevalent. It's been here for a long time, and suffice to say, it ain't going nowhere. So I don't make it bother me anymore. But the thing about it, I think what needs to happen is we need to encourage the youngsters and show them, listen, what your grandmother and your grandfather got, most of them got it. But people of my age, our grandparents, my grandmother, the only thing I would know is she worked in with the hospitality industry, okay? From Morris to Tortuga Club, right down all my aunts and stuff, they were at the old Tortuga Club, okay? And they raised their family, they bought their property, they built their homes. We need to get those people that come out and be testament to these youngsters and say, listen, you can do this in the hospitality industry. You can do this up there because this is what we done. Things were a lot harder back in those days. Explain to them and show them and get that embedded into them. And you'll see, I mean, I am so taken back, and I will always use Jamaica and the Bahamas. I've gone to the Bahamas, and I haven't had no foreigner to serve me in those places. I was served by Bahamians, and I was served by Jamaicans, respectively, when I travel in both places. But you tell me, you know what
professional service, right?
You know what happened is, Jamaica trained their people. They train their people. They identify their people who are for this industry. They train their people. Training. That is all that needs to happen for us to take back our share of this market out there. This big market that is out there. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So I'll just leave it at that. And thank you for your time to this turning.
No, thank you, man. And my apologies for going over. Sometimes I listen in. Sometimes I don't feel look at the clock. But thank you all for listening. Again, Mr. Fox, I hope I didn't cause you too much challenges and trouble in the studio there. And to our listeners, please join us again tomorrow. We're honored to have the Honorable Minister for Education as our guest, and we're looking forward to that discussion. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives.